Hey guys, I've been kind of wanting to do a video on this for a long time, before I even started actually using my voice for some of my videos, and it's about Valkyr and how she is lore friendly. I've had this thought before Valkyr Prime even existed, and my thinking behind it was basically, well, it's obvious that Valkyr can be primed because she was not actually created by LSD in like the sense that she's not like a product of the Zanuka project itself, like the Zanuka enemy. And I think that's the main issue of why people thought she could not be primed in a lore-friendly way in the first place. Because to the casual player, the lore behind LSD and Valkyr's description gives the player the impression that LSD literally created Valkyr, perhaps from an existed frame but altered, similar to like a Zanuka project, like I mentioned. So while I can understand why people would get this confused, I always got annoyed a little when I ran into people who thought that she could not get a prime because of this, and all they had to do is dig a little deeper. Now that Valkyr Prime is actually out, and has been out for a little while, I can more easily explain, at least from my understanding, why she is and always was lore friendly. I will get to her premium skin in a moment though, later on, because that kind of throws a wrench into her lore, but I have an explanation for that as well. For starters, let's take a look at the Prime's description. As expected, and as I explained to people as a way she would be lore friendly, is she was always a rage/berserker frame, even in her prime. And judging by Rhino Prime's codec entry, a frame being built upon unbridled rage and fury makes more sense, since it implies that Tenno were tortured and or forced to link with these frames when the sentient threat caused them to weaponize the transference program instead of using it to heal the Tenno. Okay, so she was always a berserker frame, so what does the game mean when it says that Valkyr was created by LSD? Well, what they actually mean is her normal form is the result of LSD's experiments, i.e., LSD destroyed a Valkyr Prime frame, stripped it of its prime components to be used for a Zanuka project and or for profit, and then with rudimentary understanding of how Valkyr Prime functioned, he used cheaper Corpus replicas in replace of her prime claws and energy claws. This is why parts of Valkyr are clearly Corpus. They're simply Corpus replicas, probably a result of LSD just reverse engineering the prime technology. But with that out of the way, we get to the giant DE skeleton in the closet, the Gersemi skin. I'm probably saying that wrong, but we'll just stick with that. Sure, visually, a player can see how a Gersemi skin could be taken apart to create a normal Valkyr look. The issue is the Gersemi skin is the only skin that injects lore into the skin itself, which in itself would be fine if it did not already contradict the existence of the Prime. But it does, as the skin implies that LSD actually took apart a Gersemi Valkyr, not a Valkyr Prime. Okay, that's fine, but again, the Valkyr Prime exists, and looks nothing like the Gersemi skin, which causes a heap of issues with the lore. But the best way I could come up with to explain this, and I think the explanation holds up pretty well, is Valkyr is a unique Warframe that has 3 versions instead of 2. What I mean by this is the Gersemi skin is actually the normal version, like Vauban is the normal version of Vauban Prime. The normal Valkyr is the result of LSD taking apart and modifying a Gersemi Valkyr, creating the first and only modern generation Warframe. You could probably say Nova is a modern generation as well, but that's actually not true, because they actually took that lore away because people are getting confused. Because when they say the Tenno Council, it's a reference to the Design Council. They're not saying that in the game, lore-wise, they actually created her. That's why they no longer say that she's created from the Tenno Council. But again, about the Gersemi, think about it. Every Prime frame is from the Orokin era, thousands of years in the past, and since then, cheaper or less effective versions were made, as most of the Prime frames were lost to time. The Gersemi skin was a replica of the Prime, and LSD from the current Warframe era created an even newer version, essentially a replicated version of the replica. While you could poke a few holes in this theory, the biggest one being the normal Valkyr looks more like the Prime than the premium skin does, I think this theory does hold up and makes the 3 Valkyr Primes add up for the most part, lore-wise. So yeah, I hope you guys liked this little lore explanation video. I hope I didn't miss anything lore-wise, but if I did, tell me in the comments below, and give it a like if you think this made sense. In any case, thanks for watching.